morning. Welcome. It's nice meeting you guys. It's a pleasure here. Okay. The first one, the most obvious is who doesn't like money? So, and that's something that puts some food on the table, pays the bills, etc., etc. So yes, that aside. However, there are so many other ventures that could have brought in money that I think we jettisoned, or that we refused, or that we turned down. So that's where the answer to the question actually lies. Why filmmaking out of different ventures that could have paid the bills? So let me start by saying I'll call it the passion, because it's what I studied in school. I usually brag about it that I am one of the few percentage of Nigerians who studied something and they are feeding off it. Bulk of Nigerians just went to school to mark attendance. Who goes school? Myself go school. So you see so many people, they studied X and then they are practicing Y outside. So I am one of those lucky chaps that what I studied in school is what I'm actually doing for a living. And it actually started way back from school then. I did theater arts in school, and then the passion was so strong, you cannot cut that away. Right from school, you could actually point to one or two people that when they finish, you can be sure that they will not divert from that. We were very few in each of the sets that I rubbed minds with in school. We were very that probably like maybe 80 people graduated, or 70 people, or 60 people, and you discover that maybe 5 of them are the names you keep seeing in the industry. So the passion is one of those things that I can say still held me down to be doing what I'm doing. So that's basically it. It wasn't that easy really. When I left school, I first of all diverted into teaching. Like you rightly said, so many people go to school, they actually want to study they actually want to practice rather what they studied, but like you said, the economy starts to toss you up and down like waves, and then everybody's moved around like chess pieces. When I left school, I was into teaching in Abeokuta. I was in Abeokuta for 8 years. I was teaching English language and literature in English. And I wrote in the 3 schools that I worked in Abeokuta, I rose in rank to become the head of department of art and languages in each of the 3 schools. After school, my foray went into some other sectors just because we need to pay bills. The passion is there, but bills are mounting, and just left school.
Food is more passionate.
Food is more passionate, so I went into teaching then. So I taught English language and literature in English. I taught in 3 schools. The first one was Tied Up College, Asheru Estate, Abeokuta. Very nice school, big school, standard school. And then the second school that I worked in was Oyewole Twins International School in Abeokuta. And then the third school was Emmanuel College in Asheru. So in each of these 3 schools, I rose in rank to head a department. And I won't lie, it was always, not always, it was almost enthralling. I almost got lost in that realm of, maybe the bills are being paid gradually, and then the focus was almost being derailed, like it happened to many. However, because I was closely connected with my passion, and then I had 1 or 2 friends that I would say were my links, and notably amongst them is my best friend, somebody that I see as a brother. His name is Bayo Alawiye. So he was the one that, let me even use the word, dragged me back into the industry, because I was in Abeokuta. As a young bachelor, what I was being paid was enough to at least pay my bills. I had a 3-bedroom apartment to myself. So you can imagine I was already thinking of buying jets and some other big things because I thought I was making good money. So but Bayo did not allow me. So we were always communicating back and forth. So he was the one that brought me into the first job that took me back into the industry. And since then, I've not looked back. If I want to apportion the credit to, okay, yes, I derailed it, I went back into the industry, what is the percentage of each factor that brought me back? I'll say number 1, the doggedness, the resilience inside of me was very, very strong. 1, because I practically live art, I breathe art, right from growing up straight from primary school I've always, in one way or the other, been seeing myself doing things that are related to art. I draw, I write from primary school. I draw, I write. So a lot of things like that are inside me. So while I was in Abeokuta teaching, I was writing. I was still connected to the, let me say, the art world. I don't want to use the word filmmaking because now we have narrowed it into filmmaking, what we are doing. But whenever I watch movies, then I find myself going back to what they taught us in school, critiquing the job and maybe so it's supposed to be. So all those small things were there. So it was in it. And even when I was teaching, in each of these 3 schools that I mentioned, if you know anybody that knew me back then, they would tell you that they are not shocked that they saw this man going back to where he is now. Because as the teacher in charge of literature, what's the word now? Unanimously, the job of the drama teacher will naturally fall on you. So I've always found myself doing 1 or 2 small dramatic pieces, end of year activities. I teach them one small drama or some few dance steps. Even me that I didn't major in dance in school, the little that they taught us, you discover that in the industry exactly. So you can pick on it and do a lot. So each of these 3 schools, I did 1 or 2 things that will stick in people's brains. All my students. Now we are friends. They are all adults, so we meet on social media, we meet in real life. They are always saying, I'm not shocked, I'm not too surprised, especially with the way I look now. I have dreadlocks that are very long, go long past my waist. Whereas back then, I was this tie-wearing, low-cut man, as in I was that kind of a... Yes, I looked responsible. Yes, I agree. They would tag me as the typical... You need to see the way students describe me. And I sabi fashion small that time. I still do though, but so back to where we were. So the passion for me, I think, is stronger inside of me. Even though I have left what I would call the industry, my spirit didn't leave. I was still finding myself doing stuff. Any small thing that I had to do in literature, then the way I would blow it up, it looked bigger to the students. Oh, the few drama pieces that I handled then, I would do it the way it's supposed to be done professionally, not because they are students. Because probably for like 2-3 years, I now find myself an opportunity to do something dramatic. The way I would do it, it would be like, in fact, I would put in all my best. So those few occasions always rekindled the fire. It always helped to rekindle the fire. So I can say I was not completely off. Even though I was off then, I was still, personally, I too was trying to find my way back because that's the only thing I know I could do. All right, talking about, let me use another way to describe it. Instead of using the word happy. Probably, I don't know if fulfilled will be a good synonym in that light. Because while I was teaching, like I said, yes, I was spending some small coins that by the standards of living in Abeokuta, it wasn't really that small. I had what the average young bachelor then would have, and then sit and be a bit complacent and think, yes, I have arrived. So but I wasn't fulfilled. There was something missing. There was a kind of incompleteness, if that word exists, that I feel somewhere. Okay, a good analogy to this would be when I quit teaching in Abeokuta, I've already, through my friend that I mentioned, Bayo Alawiye, I've already secured that job. Or rather, the job was, I was smelling the job, sorry, I've not secured it. I was just smelling the job. I am aware that something is happening in Lagos. I can put in my own application or whatever before I even resigned. The story about the resignation is another digression which I don't want to go into. So everything just added together to push me to move as at that time. So I resigned, and then I was already smelling a prospect of a job in Lagos. So as at that time when I left the job, I said I was head of department of a particular school then, and I got another job, another teaching job, and it came with an addendum, vice principal. I remember this detail very well because it's something that I've been writing. Trying to put my autobiography together gradually. So I remember this detail very well. as the head of department of art and languages in that particular school, my salary then was 16,500 naira. And trust me, it wasn't, it's small money, but Abeokuta standard of living, I could still drink some beer by the side. So that is the range that it was. So imagine when I now resigned, and I was bankrupt when I was resigning, because I said the digression go too plenty, because this recent scam that they are doing now, this Ponzi, this MMM of a thing, it came in the early 2000s. Then it was penny cowrie or penny something that I did, penny wise. So the thing just crashed then. So my money as in the small 300k or thereabout that I managed to save as a small bachelor went down the drain. That was the period that I also resigned. So you can imagine everything. So the job of a new teaching job that comes with a VP sounds so attractive, and the payment was, they said probation, the first 3 month probation was starting at K. So I won't lie, I was phased. I was like, I was doing Tokeni to KG. Which one should I do? Should I go for this one? Because this one that I'm spending in Lagos is like, it never sure. So I was being tormented by this proverb: a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. They were practically begging me to come and work in this school, because the legacy I left in Abeokuta is not that small. For each of the school that I left, it was only the first one that I wrote an application. The other 2, I was invited. Once they hear that this man left, because the name was, people were hearing that there's one guy here, he's teaching, he's very good. So once I leave a school, I get invited from another school to come. Even when I was in the last school, I know some students that left some schools to come because they heard that Mr. Tijani is in this school. So now, for me to now be offered another teaching job, and then it comes with a little upgrade. Before you are head of department, now they want to push you. I almost vice principal, really. So it was actually very attractive. But let me say that was the period of the test of my passion, because I was broke. The little savings I had gone down the drain. The little thing I was living on was the small business center I was running. I was doing typing and binding for all the students in my area, because my area then was Obantoko, and then we had Federal Oshiele. We have Oshiele and we have UNAB as our neighboring school. So students were plenty in my area. So there were always yes, the permanent campus is still a bit far, but my area was student infested. So I had plenty customers. Yes, student infested. So then that was a little small thing that I was using to hold body and soul together. Then this big job in quote now came. 25k, and that's just probation. So if you now scale probation and they now give you final employment, that means they will you know go reach 10k, but it might be. So I was already thinking that if I was getting 18k before and I was like this, if I now have 20 something, it go big go, it go red go. But I just put 2 plus 2 together to arrive at 22, and I felt like it's time. So many reasons added to why I resigned in the first place. So why would I now go back into another similar trap and then forget? So that's why I just took the bull by the horns and I left. The money, the saving didn't come from one source. I'm somebody that I like every other person who doesn't like making money. So, and I was a bachelor, and I left Ibadan, which is my base for Abeokuta. So I didn't really have plenty responsibilities. And like I said, I had one small business center that I was running. The salary was on the side, and then I was doing coaching. In fact, once I closed from school, I might visit like 3 coaching centers on contract, because all those coaching centers, they usually have their regular teachers that they employ. But me, I refused to be caged, and they wanted my services. So I was always on contract. Some it would be A-level classes that I would just go take a few A-level courses and leave. Some it would be only SS3. Some it would be only JAMB classes. So I was not tied down to, once I resume, then I will now stay for the whole of your duration. Calculate my period and I come. So my source of income was kind of diverse, to the extent that sometimes I might not might, I usually don't touch my salary. So accruing that amount, I should say it was towards the ending of my living Abeokuta. So that should be like, let's say like 2 years thereabouts, give and take, because I was still doing contribution with some colleagues. So let's just say like 2 years thereabouts. Yes, 2 years. No, I didn't do MMM. I was already too smart when MMM started. We started with the great grandfathers of MMM, the Pennywise of those days. So from where now, so that they hear that that one has already gone down the drain. It was bad debt. I just cancelled it as bad debt. All right, my homecoming job. Let me use the word homecoming because the art world is actually home for people like us. So me coming back into the industry, the first job that I would say is the title is About to Wed. It was produced by a company called Royal Roots. So Bayo was the director of the project. We shot 2 seasons. That's 26 episodes in Ghana. Yes, in fact, I was going to say that, funny enough, that was John Dumelo's first production as an actor. When we auditioned him, from his backstory, he said he had a small acting stint when he was much younger, maybe like around below 10, maybe 8, 9 or thereabout. So he had it. And then as an adult, he had been working as a presenter in a couple of stations, I think TV3 or thereabout in Ghana. So the first time that he would do something major as an actor was About to Wed. So I find that as one of my bragging rights. So on the project, I was production manager. And I wrote, how many episodes did I write? I think I wrote 8 episodes out of 26. Because I write by the side too, although nowadays I don't want to call myself a professional writer. I prefer to stay on the interpretative side, the directing and some other stuff like that. So I wrote episodes of About to Wed, and I was the production manager. We were in Ghana for I think not up to 2 months, like 7 weeks. That's close to 2 months. We were in Ghana for like 7 weeks. 26 episodes. Okay, the way I see it is, number one, it's about being able to multitask. We have picked only 2 aspects of filmmaking now that we are comparing, directing and writing. There are so many other things that are done together. Directing and producing is another headache. Directing and acting in the same job is another headache. So it depends on which aspect you can marry together. So now, for me, I would not see myself as a filmmaker who was a writer and then who drifted into something else. No, I didn't drift. I majored in directing in school. Studied theater arts, I majored in directing from school. While in the same class, you see some people that majored in writing. I didn't major in writing, but like I said, it is innate. I've been writing long before I even knew that there is a course called theater arts. I've been writing, put ideas together. So let me just say, it's inside blood. One, writing for me is inside blood. While I was in school, I wrote and directed some productions that we call PP, then private productions, because basically in school, all the productions that we engage in, they are usually exams, and they were always compulsory. So now, UI as at back then, I don't know about now, they gave us some freedom that if you can put up your own production, just do it like a normal production outfit. So you rent the stage, rent the light and everything. So I put some resources together with some friends. The same Bayo Alawiye is involved. So, and I wrote some pieces that I directed. So writing for me has always been way back. So it's not as if I was a writer, then I diverted. No, I didn't. In fact, I was just like I said, multitasking. I was just trying to see which other skills I can put together with directing. Just like I know so many people that they act and in the same job. Some produce and they direct the same job. I have tried producing and directing at the same time. I burnt my hands seriously, so I usually don't want to do it again. So, but I still do once in a while. If push comes to shove. So for writing now, the reason why I slow down on writing, because for me, I would not want to put it as one of those things that pays my bill. Writing is what I think for me comes spontaneously. it's something that I like. Not that, should I use the word like? It's something that I like to do, or that I know I can do when it flows naturally. So nowadays I find myself writing only my own jobs. And another person is Bayo Alawi's job too. He's in America presently, but most of his jobs I still write some of them. So, but I would not want to put myself under that pressure of called me and then they need the script XYZ this, and then I'm now put under pressure, and then I'm now trying to wake up the muse when the muse is deciding that this is my sleeping time. But because I have a deadline, I now need to be forcing myself to write. For me, it doesn't flow well. That's why if I need to write a project for somebody now, it needs to be somebody that we both understand ourselves. That for me, it can come and I'll finish a script within 2 days. In fact, one of my earliest Yoruba movie scripts, which year was that? One of my earliest scripts that really made a lot of noise in the Yoruba sector. I wrote it under 24 hours. That's the irony. Do I even know the title? Because the way it works, then we wrote the script, the producers or the marketers pick title for it. So, but my friend just called me that, guy, I need to shoot something. He just told me a few, let me say, it's not even up to a synopsis. Just 2 lines about the story in my head is one man and one woman. So that's how I just picked up the idea myself. And the following morning when we were seeing, I just sent the first draft to him, thinking he would read and then have a few pointers that, okay, help me adjust this part. It was the first draft that they shot, and it really did well. So I know I can write, I can do it, but I don't want to be coerced into doing it by, there's deadline, they need the script by Saturday, and my brain is not tilting towards waking up at all. Whereas how it works for me is, even my own jobs, I might be planning to write a story, my phone, my notepad is always filled up. So I might have a few ideas that I have jotted down. Trust me, it might take the next 3 weeks that I'll just be skimming through the phone and I'll see this idea. And then the way the idea will jump at me, in the next 7-8 hours, the script is ready. I write that fast. That's the way my writing style is. So, and I'm talking of a full-length movie, 120 thereabout. I type fast. I gave you a backstory now that when I was in Abeokuta, I had a small business center. I was doing computer typing and binding, photocopy so I can boast about that one. I type very fast. But now for the way writing is, I don't want to be coerced. And like we say in filmmaking, you are as good as your last job. I don't want to be put under that pressure of it must be done. For instance, now directing, trust me, you can't catch me unawares about directing. You can't catch me unawares. The longest is I would just need like a couple of hours to quickly read the script. The blockings, everything will jump at me. It doesn't come like that for writing. However, I know some people that the way my own directing comes is the way their writing comes. So let's leave it to them. Those that their muse is 24/7 a week. If you want them to write something now, they are writing it now. For me, it doesn't work that way. So that's why, rather than try to struggle with what I will now be battling with the people whose A game is in that department, I don't want to now be struggling. I don't know if my point is clear about it. So that's why. Yeah, talking about credits and the different aspects of filmmaking. For me, I think the behind-the-scene artists, they are not well acknowledged, if I can use that word. Like the analogy you gave, that if you watch a typical Hollywood movie, you see credits roll, and then you'll be wondering how many people did the film save, where will they see all this plenty name? It's because not a lot of focus, attention is given to the appropriate departments appropriately over there. However, there are so many aspects of filmmaking that people don't even know exist in Nigeria. I used to lecture in a film school here in Lagos, and one of the things that I tell students, because you see, we have I think 4 departments. Then we have acting, we have directing, which I handled, and then we have screenwriting. So those are the 4 departments that we as a school offered as at then, but now I think it has been expanded. So you now see, let's assume that we have a total number of 120 students that registered in the school. Directing is usually maybe like 10 people, maximum 50. I think the highest number of my students then was like, I think 25 or thereabouts in a session. And then editing too, maybe the same number, or maybe like 10 people. Writing, even fewer. But acting, Dugbe class. The acting is usually Dugbe class.
Everybody wants to be popular.
And me, I'm one kind of blunt idiot, because that's the way I see myself. I'm very, very blunt. So many of my students, when I meet them, I've been in the industry for, let me say, donkey years. I train in it, so I understand where you are coming from. So many of them, I'll meet them and I'll know that, number one, who told you this one that you should try to be an actor? That's just being realistic. In the first instance, who even lied to you? I don't know if you have watched auditions in all these reality shows about music. You see some people that came there to sing, and you'll be wondering, who they lie give you say you'll be Celine Dion? There are people like that in acting too. They don't business about it. However, you see the passion in them. Filmmaking, I shall want to do. So some of them, we actually call them and we counsel them. Auntie or bros, see, this is not the only thing you can focus on in filmmaking. There are other departments that you can go into, and thankfully, I can even say boastfully, I can point to a couple of names that listened, and today they've already carved a niche for themselves in probably costume department, some in makeup, some in set and props. Whereas before they came into that school that I was teaching, they never knew that department even. They never knew that we had such a department. So they all come, they want to be actors. But there are so many other departments. It now boils down to the question where you said, which departments are not being or are not well exploited? I would say the behind the scenes department. So many of our people don't even know that there is something we call continuity department. Script. They don't even know. One of my best buddies today that I met. So one of my best buddies from that same institution is a very young chap. He came to study screenwriting, but today now he's going to become a director because he follows he gives me close marking seriously. He started by being a script supervisor. I introduced him to the department that you can do this, and he has done it so well. Now he's an AD. The set where he's working presently now is the assistant director. That's how far he has grown. But before he came, he thought he was coming to study screenwriting. And trust me, this guy, he has not sold one screenplay in Nollywood now. That's what he came to study. He's good in it. But now he discovered that the aspect that I pushed him to is even more busy than I am. He's on set presently now. They are shooting a series for like 2 months. I think they have like 3 weeks to go now. So I agree with you. There are so many departments that are utilized in Nigeria, like set and props. Let me even focus on props itself. Nobody talks about it. We take it for granted. Let me give you an example. I was shooting a job some years ago. Deyemi Okalawon was the main actor that was supposed to use that particular prop. Now the quick backstory is he was a psychologist in the story, somebody who counsels people, who advises them about their marriages, etc., etc. However, he was involved in domestic violence. He was beating his wife. So it's a case of physician heal thyself. So now, his senior colleague at work, that's the character was Tinamba. That one being an experienced person, she was a professor. They worked together in the same establishment. So that one saw the signs. Because they are even family friends. So the character, this doctor, the man and his wife, they are family friends. So they go to visit this professor and her husband. So that one saw the signs. She doesn't have to be spoon-fed. She knows that something is not going well between these two people. That's how she broke the ice in the office one day and called the guy, and they just like a patient that now you are not my friend. So she sat him down and etc. So one of the prescriptions for him, aside from some drugs that he should take, was a book that he's supposed to read. And the writer was very creative, created the title of a book that from the title you know that it's talking about something about the human mind, how to work on it and whatever. So my props man on set, in the screen description, just saw that this guy is supposed to be reading a book and brought not a robot. As in, guys, I was livid. I flared up. That do you people even interpret what you are doing? Because they just wrote a book there, you just bought a book. What is the book? I now paused the production. While I paused, I've already sent one of my peers because then I was still lecturing in that school. So I go to my set with some of my students. They work as my PA. So I've already given one of them what I wanted to do. I did a rough sketch. Maybe I thought say I did draw. I did a rough sketch of a book cover. I did it kind of. How I wish I can go. I can look for it on Instagram and send to you so that I don't know if you can put it. So that's how I designed the book cover back and front. I created a fictitious writer, backstory, etc. Back and forth, you go and find a place to print it. Print on a fair. Exactly. My own money. I now sat the scene was set, makeup and everything was set. Now that prop. I said I'm moving to another scene while I'm waiting for this prop. Meanwhile, the other scene that they need to move to they need to do makeup. So there was like a small break. So I now called the guy. Some other people said I was now like lecturing them that this is interpretation. This guy is sick. He's being taken care of by his own doctor. I was telling them the story. Now, one of the things that this doctor prescribed is take this medicine and then read this book. The medicine will touch. The book will touch your subconscious. The book is a drug. And I told the guy that it's just like they told you now that somebody is sick, you have dysentery, and then you want to bring a drug prop, you now bring paracetamol. Should be drug, not drug. You need to interpret these things as in they never saw it the way I saw it. The way I explained it, the guy was very humble. He was like, I thank God for this, that. He never saw it like that. So now, look at that aspect now. Should be prop na prop, book na book. That's their own interpretation. Whereas somebody who is a seasoned props man, if you do your job well, the way you make a director's work flow smoothly, it will be so big. One of the leading names we have in Africa presently is Akin-Tijani. Akin-Tijani effect. Whenever I see this guy's post, whenever he does any prop and he posts them, I have goosebumps. Now we are saying he's one of the biggest. It should not be one of our biggest. It should be, that's the way we should have majority. No, sorry, it's not a standard. It's above standard now. Yeah, because they have to wait for him. So now look at how one person has blown up the department of props. He did one car explosion in one movie. I think they shot it in Abuja there about I was scared shitless. Sorry, pardon my French. When I saw the explosion, the thing, the way everything blew up, and that's a film set. The little I know about him, I think he's self-taught, and then he has traveled. He has done a lot of other things like that. So we have some of these people in Nigeria, but now the challenge is getting to use them is the first thing, because they are expensive to come by, because their craft is not small. In fact, I even have a colleague like that too, that we started from UI. In fact, now that I'm going back, it's more than one person that I'm remembering. Funke Olowu is somebody whose makeup effects are spectacular. Yes. She does pageants kind of more now. She does pageants and some other things like that. And the thing is, I can only speak for myself. I don't really know the circumstances that surround some other people's life. So, because it goes a long way, so many factors make people derail or not. So, yes, I was going to say that you just stole the words from my mouth, because that's why I started by saying I don't know the circumstances behind every other person. I was going to fall back on, but I told you about myself before that I need to pay bills. I need to pay bills. There is a limit to that saying that passion. It's true, passion keeps you there, but bros, when your bills are being taken care of, your passion will flow well. Because in a situation where you have a lot of issues disturbing your mind, trust me, it affects creativity. I've been there in the early days of coming back into an industry when the jobs are not really flowing like that, and then you have flat broke and whatever, and then I was still even writing professionally. And I told you about me and writing now. Deadline is plenty. NEPA bill is there. They just cut light. Your neighbor just contributed the 1K. I'm being realistic now. So the neighbors just rally around to say, oh, yeah, make we contribute. Okay, to quickly reconnect before NEPA people will carry the wire go. And bros, you don't have that 1K to drop. And then you are hoping that they will not knock on your door so that they will connect the light so that you can quickly finish the script you are working on. And you expect that person to be creative. I didn't talk about the food part, or that this same person has not eaten, no, and then they are expecting him to pay 1K to collect NEPA money, and etc. etc. So passion, it has its own place, but pay your bills first. So, and I think that goes alongside the answer you prefer, that the economic weight is heavy, and then the industry itself is not that permeable. It's not that easy to penetrate. It's not that once you study something and then there's a space waiting to absorb you. Now lie, big lie. You are on your own. You need to now start to forge your own way. You need to carve. I tell my students this way back when I was in that movie school where I was lecturing, because part of them, that entitlement mentality of once we finish from this school, are we going to be getting roles? And I'm like, if you go to a polytechnic or a university, you studied accounting. So once you graduate from that university, you study accounting, the university will be dropping job in front of you because you study accounting from that's the mentality so many people came with. And because I've been there, I've studied something that has to do with the art, and then coming into the industry, bros, I skipped a lot of parts. So people would think coming back was easy peasy. It wasn't easy peasy at all, because there is no vacancy in the industry. It's not as if people are waiting for somebody who just graduated and then you have plenty talent. It's not as if there's a scarcity of talent. There is already a tussle up there. The sky is big enough for all birds to fly, but you need to fly first. You need to get to that place before you now say that space did. True. But flying from ground level to that altitude where you now see that space. Okay, let me quickly jump in on that before the ideas in my head begin to dissipate. You are so spot on. But for me, I think it goes in two different ways. Okay. I have plenty of friends, educated people like us, and then there is this dragging that is the norm in social media now. Whenever something's not going right, they drag you. So most of my friends, engineers, doctors, architects, or whatever, etc., whenever they are watching a movie and they see something that is like an anomaly, they screen grab and send to me, see your people, ATB, now you do this one. All those kind of jokes, so we throw it back and forth. So my counter attack is usually, guy, you are screen grabbing African Magic or some other platform to raise this point. How many times have you gone to a cinema and then you screen grab something from the cinema? No, that is bad. You are bringing now from a particular terrestrial station or any of this, let me use the word, the lower cadre. How many times have you been to the cinema and then you see all those kind of similar errors there? So I tell them, if you want to judge Nollywood, judge holistically. Don't be a fan of a particular Nollywood YouTube page and then you are using their movies to judge what goes on Ndani TV, or you are using that quality to judge what goes on Ebony Life or Rock TV or all these other stations. Where the standards are a bit higher. You pick on one and then you begin to hammer on that nail once you see something wrong. There's one particular joke that I have blocked a couple of people about it. They will crack a joke that it's only in Nollywood that you will see a ghost crossing the road and is afraid of vehicles. And I tell them, shut up. Have you people watched Ghost Daddy? It's an old film, Bill Cosby. Bros, if you have not, go and watch it again. Then you will see a ghost who is afraid. You will see a ghost who was picking cup. It is how we interpret that matters. But trust me, there is one old Yoruba song that the man actually said, I'll just paraphrase in English, that if a white man, they cook rice and his canteen is here and it's very expensive, and then a black man is cooking his own rice beside, is cheaper and the quality is higher than that of the white man, our people will patronize the white man. Our slave mentality is still there. Our Yes, exactly, imported. Thank you very much. So that mentality is also there. We don't really see mistakes in what Oyinbos do. Well, because me, I'm a lecturer and that's what I do. I can give you a list of some jobs that go and pause at so minutes, so second, you go see wetin dey there. So, but we don't see all these things when it's coming from a foreign project, whereas it is there too. So now back to the issue that is it that the audience don't need it? Which audience is our target? Are you planning to take a movie to Netflix, or you are planning to take a movie to the cinema, and then you are going to employ the same kind of people that will give you the same services for a YouTube project? Because in all fairness, some of those channels, they have their own market that are dying over those content that you and I will criticize. One day, when I was in Ikorodu, when I was still living in Ikorodu, I was coming back from work one day, so I just said, okay, let me grab a bite here before going home. So I entered the canteen, and then I could see a couple of guys, maybe like 5 or 6 or thereabout. They were busy watching something that I wasn't even interested in. I just bought the alarm. They blew me that day, seriously. I was very hungry. So I just bought my food and I was sitting down. After a while, all the hoo-ha, the excitement, and I said, let me even look at what these people are watching. And I turned, and it's one of those our stations, and I was like, oh, these people again. My body was cringing as I was seeing these scenes. You know all those scenes, epic kind of setting where the whole movie will happen exterior. So in fact, the scene that I remember watching that day, the camera was very close to the door. Somebody who was coming became like a close-up. So we see the pullback. They became 2 people, 2 shots, and the camera was one straight shot. They were moving from one person's space, zoom in, pull back again, go to this one. Somebody was dropping buckets. They tilted down to show the cutaway. Came back again. As in one shot. And the scene was now unnecessarily long, like 10 minutes or thereabout. It's not like all those creative moves where you see a director deliberately say, I want to shoot a film with only 1 shot. And you'll be seeing it. We have some internationally that have you seen Birdman? So it's not that kind of setup that you know that it's a deliberate artistic display. No, but you need to see the way these 5 or 6 guys were excited over this. I had to pause my food and I was like, okay, no wonder. So now we will be yabbing these producers. Whereas if you talk back about that film, those guys they might beat you up. They were so loving the story. So that's why I always tell people that what audience are you targeting? If a producer contracts me for a job now, Baba, I see this script, maybe we should. My first question is, where are we going to? Where we are going to will determine the kind of cameras I will tell you I want to use. The kind of cameras will determine the kind of lighting I will call for. The way I would light for a Red is not the same way I would light for a Black Magic or Sony Ultra, whatever. So where are we going? What's our target audience? Is it Netflix that we are going to that we will not know that we need this kind of special things to be done? So to buttress the answer that you gave, I would say yes and no, because some of these projects, we want to kill ourselves getting it right. The target audience, they don't even know that thing you are trying to fine tune or correct is there. They don't even know. The normal people in those days of DVD, I don't know, maybe they still do DVD. Do you want to tell me that the kind of my neighbors in Abeokuta then, that you see one person, because then I had a business, along that side that business thing, I had a video renter too. That's why I said my income was in multiple streams then. So exactly now. So you see somebody, I know their house, and you see one whatever come to look at the faces. I like this one, I like this one. Collect like 4 films, take to that compound, and in that compound you now discover that maybe it's one bros that is coming after work that will buy fuel. The whole 8 or 9 rooms will gather and watch the film. And you are now trying to fine-tune makeup for those people, or you are saying continuity error. Do they even know what continuity is? So now the target audience determines a lot. Okay. All right. I think that is what is called the Stockholm syndrome in abusive relationships, where you see somebody that is being pummeled and battered, they still go back to where they are coming from. you are not really far from the truth, because I believe you will consume what is available to you. And oftentimes, you might be compelled to just consume because now only waiting the ground with that. That might be a factor. However, it's still not an holistic excuse in this Nigeria, because like I pointed out a few minutes ago, that we have some content, we have some platforms that we can say, yes, our A-class content go to. But the thing is, like you rightly said, just like I told you that I have friends too, that they can spend the whole duration that the movie is playing to be complaining, but they will not turn it off. And after that one, they might take a rest, eat a couple of things, and then start another movie, the same place, and they will complain again. So I know people like that. And I would say they belong to the first category where I said you can consume only what is available to you. And another thing is probably because the stress of why should I stress myself to go and be looking for XYZ when I can just press this button and something will be playing here. So that's why I feel there are still many people like that they don't like it. They say they don't like it, but they are still, can I use the word addicted? So the thing is, if the standard is increased, it will increase viewership, because I know so many people who are Nigerians who will readily tell you for free, you can never catch me watching Nollywood. However, we've been able to change some few minds. I know a few of them that they will come and tell you that, I remember now, Gone, starring Gabriel Afolayan. And me as a film critic, when I watch something that I think I like, I don't keep my mouth shut. It is the ones that I don't like that I will just But if I watch something that I think I like, I allowed it. It doesn't have to be my own job. Even when I posted about Gone, when I was lauding it, somebody on Instagram thought it was my own job. They were now asking me. I said, no, I'm just promoting it because I like the job. So now back to the point I was trying to make, that now let's assume that, okay, not even let's assume, we as filmmakers, we can imagine the cost of producing Gone. We can imagine the cost. Now imagine producing Gone as a standard and bringing it to some platforms. I don't want to mention names. I don't want to drop their own rating. However, the same people that I say they will watch a particular movie that you and I will criticize, if they watch Gone, they will still clap for it. They will be happy. Exactly. But the thing is, I'm trying to see how to mix it together, the economy side of things and the delivery of the art. Because the same crop of people that we say they are probably not intellectually inclined, they don't really know all the small things that you and I will pick out from a film. If they are the ones that watch all those our very classic movies, they will just enjoy it. It will not. How do I say it? I'm trying to think of the income now. Why we still find it difficult to have plenty of such movies? Because there is already a platform that you must take such movies to that can bring back your payment. It's only once in a while that we will see people like the friend of mine that made me remember Gone. When I posted about it, she now said she would try. She's in America or thereabouts. She now said she would try. She now went to Netflix, and I like the way she reviewed it, that this has changed my mind about the Nigerian movies, that if not that she recognizes the actors in the movies, she would have denied that Nigerians cannot do this. and after that, she has worked a couple of other Nigerian movies. So once in a while, we have a good project bringing people back to join the number of viewers we have, but how many is still far. So Gone actually has a lot of good attributes like that, and that's why it's one of those jobs, like an example that has helped. At least I can point to one person that because she watched that movie, says now I can be watching Nollywood jobs again. So I don't know if that answers the question. This question now is one of those questions that I usually dodge when interviews come up, because like I usually say, like I even said sometime in this course of this interview that I've been penning my autobiography. So, and of course, I have some juicy chapters like that. One of them, not one, some of them are my school story. It's it's a goosebump kind of session, because let me start by saying I was self-sponsored in school. When I say self-sponsored, I was not that kind of student that you need 10 naira, you have a ready place to go and ask for the 10 naira. Whether they will give you immediately or not is a different thing. I don't know if you understand, because there are some people that if they go home now, it's a couple of days to raise the money, but you shall know that mommy and daddy will give me. Whether na borrow, whether na whatever, they will give you. So I wasn't that kind of a student. There was nobody, not a parent, not one uncle, not one auntie, that I would say, yes, this is where I am going to collect money. Whether they will give me full or half, I didn't have that kind of person at all. I was self-sponsored. I just came to school. Don't let me go to the beginning. Let me just pick it from the middle. So I was just in school existing. I just found myself in UI, paying my own bills. I had some classmates who were they were like God sent. They were like God sent, and I have plenty of classmates that were really supportive. People like Chris Oyedinachi is in America now. We were like twins when we were in school. So the two of us are on the tall side, but he's much taller than I am. But I'm a very skinny person. He is a very big person, and our madness kind of tallies so well. He's an Igbo boy, but he speaks Yoruba fluently. Me, I'm a pure Yoruba boy, but the way we gelled in school, you would think we're actually siblings from the same family. So the guy played his part, and then some other classmates like Ngozi, Yerima, Ijoma, there are plenty. People that they just understood kind of that this guy really doesn't have. But my bubbling self, I was like all over the place. There was a time they called me Oracle of Theatre. There was a time I was ATA's president. So I was very vibrant, and let me even do some little bragging on the side. Academically too, I was still there. So I had people who helped out. I remember not once, not twice in school that I would leave school to go and do some labor work on building construction. Go and work with bricklayers. So I did stuff like that while I was in school. Then there was a time I had one Okada in school, one white Vespa like that I was using to do one small hustle. I had a couple of accidents on the campus. I was doing Okada runs in school then. What else did I do in school? Okay, let's mention only the legal ones. We didn't do anything illegal. So, but it was not easy peasy then. It was not easy peasy. So it was very, very tough. Especially there are some times where we had plenty of ASU strikes. There was a time that the school was even shut down, but theater was still existing, kind of, because we had some performances to rehearse. But there was no accommodation in school. We were all told to leave. Myself and my crazy friends, we will not leave. We will find a way to be sneaking back into the hall, because there was no place for me to. I had a home. The few times that I remember going home then was when back in school, if I've done my hustle in one or two ways, when I have some extra coins, that's when I go home, so I can give my mom some money. And the irony is, most people are in school, they go home and they take small money from the woman. But me, it is when I have extra that I will go home. Okay, now I remember something. The only person that I say contributed, not only but the notable one, my younger brother. But it's not as if I was going to collect money from him. I was going to steal money from him. I even wrote a post about this on Facebook recently.
Stole his money.
Yes, I was going to steal his money. So I even wrote something about it on Facebook recently. I can do a screenshot and send to you. Maybe you can find a way to blend it in. Somebody posted a meme about this is me and my younger sister, and the meme was the younger sister was always stealing the elder brother's cookies. So I know, but I still keep them there for you. I remember when I was in school that my younger brother then, he was working as a computer operator at IR somewhere. So he was still doing one small weekly, monthly So he was having some small coins. He was living in our house. So whenever I go home, I just watch his movement. Once he's out of the room, I steal a few notes from where he keeps money in his drawer. So that happened maybe like 3-4 times in the history of my 5 years in UI. So back a few years ago, as adults, the two of us, married men with our family. So now we had a family meeting in our house in Ibadan. Everybody came. My brother came from Benin Republic with his wife and children. I went from Lagos. So it was a filled house. So we were now talking. We were playing chess. So something now. I just pointed to the drawer. I said, guy, I remember sometime that anytime I come from UI, I know that you have money here. I'll just steal some. He said he knows whenever those things happen, but he knows I need the money, so he's always keeping them there. That there were even some time that when I came home is when he would go and put the money there, because whenever I go home, I would stay for maybe 2-3 days. So even if there was no money there before, he will go and keep it there because he knows that when this guy is going, he will be too ashamed to ask me, being the younger brother. So he kept the money there deliberately, knowing that I would take it. So that for me was a big story. I wrote about it publicly, and I even tagged him on the post. We laughed about it. So that's just to give you an idea of how smooth the school days were then. Okay, that's when I'll talk about my bus conductor days. The pleasure is mine here. I really appreciate the platform too, and I commend this effort. Sincerely, I must say. I don't know if this is going on can too, but I commend this effort. This what you call little, for me it's not little. I commend it. Having a one-man crew that can still pull all this off is very, very commendable. And these are the kind of content that we actually have, or rather that we actually need, because we actually need content. We lack content. There was one accusation that they threw to me as soon as he saw me the first time this morning, that guy, you should have a website, that you have plenty content. I said, look at me, it's like you are preaching to the choir. I am guilty of this. I have accused people of being guilty of this, because archives, yes, we lack archives in Nigeria. We don't do much of documentation. I've written about Pella, about Baba Salah, because there was a time I was talking to somebody about and this that my friend that I said is a movie maker now, that is now an AD. He's a very young chap, mid-20s thereabout. So I just mentioned Pella. The only Pella they know is Shino Pella. I now told him about the story of the father, that the father is a magician. Everything was looking like magic. I quickly Googled. Let's see if I could not find any link about Professor Pella. Okay. As big as that man was. So even me now, I'm guilty. Sad. So we need to build archives, just like what you guys are doing now, and personally too. Okay, the thing is, I agree to being guilty of not archiving properly all our documents. I'm working on that angle. But basically, even my social media is basically Facebook. I am louder on Facebook than Instagram. Twitter, I don't do at all. Okay. I used to. I tried to join them, but it's not my kind of thing. And the problem majorly was the writing style on Twitter. Then it was all those 140 characters limited. And for me, I'm a writer. I don't use contracted words. I don't abbreviate words. It annoys me when I read. So I didn't do Twitter. But Facebook allows me to express myself. Instagram, similar too. The challenge I have with Instagram is you must post either a video or a picture first. I can go and write only on Facebook. So that's majorly where I can be. I think I have to think of that website. True. Same as my name. I've not changed it. Akin-Tijani Balogun.